It's that time of the week. It's just that time. It's a new year. We're in 2025, 2024 is out the door. We're here. And to start off the New Year's right, the first episode of the year, of course, we're
Yeah.
back in the iconic virtual studio. And I think we need to be in a low key location for this one, but we'll dive more into that as we dive into this episode. But first and foremost, brother, a happy late Christmas and happy late New Year's, bro. I mean, I think it's been a while since we touched base. We missed in the last episode, which was
Yeah.
dubbed our Christmas episode. If you haven't checked that out, do so. It's on all major streaming platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all that jazz.
Mm.
But yeah, that's the last episode we did. You weren't there, unfortunately, but I mean, here we are, brother. I mean, how you been?
Been good, man. Just doing my thing, burying my head in the, in the books and all that fun stuff. Trying to stay out of trouble, trying to stay out of jail and rehab. That's my resolution. Just
This is resolution for like the continuous years. You've just always told yourself you're gonna get off alcohol, drugs, but it's like a repetitive cycle. You still do the same thing.
Yep. I want to be fentanyl free in 2025. We'll see. Hopefully. I just don't want the hunch. I walk around. All my homies are just standing around hunched over, looking like zombies.
Yeah.
And I don't want to be that.
Yeah. That's still the new. That's still like the same thing. Like the young kids are doing nowadays too. The Fenty, right? Like nothing else has. I think there was like another hardcore drug that was like it's cheaper, the fentanyl, it's deadlier, and it's cheaper to make, and it's cheaper on the streets. I don't know what it's called, but it's supposed to be pretty crazy, but I don't
Bring
think
it
we
in,
caught wind of
baby.
it yet, right?
I'll order a semi truck load of it. Yeah, me and the homies will cut it up and disperse it.
Distribute. Jesus Christ.
Can't wait to see what the side effects are.
Yeah, kids, stay away from drugs. Say no to drugs, like Dare used to say, or that little tiger, or that little lion from Dare. They used to say, "Don't say no to drugs." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, just
Stay
say
safe out there.
no. I think who was Reagan's wife, Ronald Reagan.
Oh, that's right. The commercial,
Wasn't it
where she's
her?
just say no.
Yeah, just say no. Yeah. Then what I loved about Obama, see, Obama, we know Trump is the troller in chief, right? But Obama loved to troll too, and so he would bring up the fact that Reagan's wife was doing seances in the White House.
The hell?
It was true, dude. It was true. He wasn't lying, dude. Obama was telling the truth on that one.
Oh, Barry. That's his name, right? Barry? Is it
Barry? Yeah, Barry, what's his name? Yeah. Ken says it all the time.
Oh, Barry.
I'm surprised she's still alive.
Yeah. But nonetheless, like I was saying, we're in a secluded area. As you can see, I'm trying to hide my eyes because when I don't hide my identity, but nonetheless, my photos are everywhere. So I mean, they'll have no problem finding me. By they is like the what we call them, the ABCs. This is what we call them, the alphabet. So we call them?
Yeah, the alphabet agencies. Yeah.
So before we start talking about what we're going to dive into today, which is a pretty deep wormhole, we want to say if there are any technical difficulties that we come across on this episode, I swear to you, if you've been an avid listener to the Beyond Suspicion podcast, what was once known as the Tip podcast, we've always had these strange occurrences happen when we talk about stuff that's been happening as of late from what you see on mainstream media and all that. But excuse me, but on this one, it seems like it's you put me on. We want to reference, of course. We've actually got reposted. Actually, I don't know if I told you this. I actually reposted something in regards to the Sean Ryan podcast on my like personal account, and he reposted it, or whoever runs his account reposted it because it was talking about like UAPs. I think he had like his UAP special, and I posted something about like, oh, what I'm on today. So we definitely want to give a shout out to Sean Ryan. I think you run a phenomenal podcast. Huge fan, avid listener. You definitely have some very interesting guests come on. But nonetheless, there was a very interesting individual that was recently on his podcast that has to do in reference of the explosion and the gentleman in the car, supposedly, that exploded in front of the Trump Tower in Las Vegas. Correct me if I'm wrong, Brett, on any of this, if I'm saying it, right? The explosion in Las Vegas, Trump Tower. Yeah. Okay. So this gentleman that was a guest on his podcast was, I believe he said he runs like a meme and GIF page on Instagram, correct?
Yes, he used to. Oh, and then it transformed into something else. What is his name though? Because I'm trying to find it on the thing, and
Yeah,
I'm wondering if the episode has already been deleted.
no, we're definitely gonna find it just so we can give the people
Oh,
a direct. We definitely want to leave stuff, for people to look up for themselves. Sam Shoemate.
yeah, you're right. Okay, so it
Sam
hasn't been deleted.
Shoemate.
I was worried that this episode was going to get deleted just because of everything that they were talking about. I thought that.
And just to give just a bio of who this gentleman is, this
Mm.
guest on this podcast. His name is Sam Shoemate. He's an intelligence officer and chief warrant officer too, a U.S. Army retired. So let's dial back to December 31st. This gentleman by the name of Sam received an email from the alleged person that was in that Cybertruck when it exploded. It goes the name by Matthew Liveless Berger.
Livelsberger,
Um, yeah, Liveless Burger, I think that's his name.
Livel.
Who was quoted to be the perpetrator in the detonation of the Tesla truck, um, in the Tesla Cybertruck at the Trump Tower the following day. So he went on that podcast to bring forward what is alleged to be the gentleman's manifesto. So now this is where it gets really interesting. And Brett, he shot me this and he's like, dude, you should check this out. This will definitely be an interesting topic to talk about on our podcast, just because I feel like maybe, out of just if people don't really listen to podcasts or you're just kind of getting into it, because I know it's starting to be like I think it is a mainstream thing now, right? Just the topic of podcasts in general.
Mm-hmm.
But for our audiences that have been seeing this on mainstream media are probably wondering, like, is this considered to be a terrorist attack because they're trying to tie this in to what had happened in New Orleans. We'll talk a little bit about that. I haven't really dove into that as much compared to this one, but we'll dive a little bit into that as well as this episode goes. So they were trying to tie the two together because they kind of happened around the same time,
Yeah, same day.
and but the same day. So the interesting thing about this, right? Some of the things don't add up. And what I say by that was the fact that this gentleman showed and read out loud the manifesto. It seemed like this gentleman, Matthew, was trying to get a hold of him to talk about what he has witnessed and has been part of. And he also referenced the UAPs that we're seeing on the East Coast. Now, it gets very interesting when he lays this one piece of information in his alleged manifesto. He talked about in 2019 there was an airstrike in Afghanistan that happened, and during this airstrike, according to him, there was mass innocent casualties that happened in the midst of this. Now, why is that such a big deal? Well, for one, we're in Afghanistan. Two, this could be a huge investigation with the UN if we're killing innocent civilians, or if our
War
troops or
crime.
whoever's behind this have killed innocent civilians. Because I mean, first and foremost, we're all about peace over here, fuck war, whatever. But the fact that innocent women and children were killed, I'd say that's a pretty big no-no right there.
And covered
So
up.
yeah, and they try to cover it up, and that's the big problem.
Yeah.
So I think from his perspective, I'm assuming that he probably felt some type of way where he didn't he wants to come out clean and blow the whistle in regards to this, that, hey, this had happened. And I want to come out truthfully to talk about this because as time goes, we've already witnessed and just been a part of seeing all this stuff come out in regards to UAPs, whistleblowers themselves coming out, talking about all this stuff they've been seeing. And I wouldn't be surprised if more people come out in regards to this stuff, in regards to cover ups of stuff that's had happened the whole time we were in Afghanistan. There's still stuff that's probably going to come out, and people are going to step out and talk about this openly to let you know, hey, this is what your government over there is doing, and
Yeah.
they're everybody's eyeing us as the enemy. Well, and behind closed doors, it's not really us calling the shots to make those type of moves. So that's number one, to talk about that he was openly wanting to get on some big platforms. He had some names in there, but one of them was Sean Ryan, that he wanted to get on his podcast to openly talk about this and go in description before the end of the year, or before the end of the year, January 1st, which when the explosion had happened and taken place. So number two, he talks about the anti-gravity technology, and he talks about how the things that we're seeing in the sky in the East Coast has to do with this anti-gravity technology. And also, he also states that allegedly China is behind this, and they're at free will just flexing their muscles, tossing or flying these things up above our, aerial space, which for one, like I've said before, it's an act of war. If a foreign entity is in our airspace, that's considered an act of war. Like I feel like that would already triggered off something going. Why we're not doing anything should be alarming just because of that. Because had that not been the case and we could take those things down, I'm pretty sure we would have seen some fireworks flying. And I'm not talking about 4th of July either, people.
Mhm.
So that's number two, where if China's if that is true, again, we're just going off by what this gentleman's saying. That's a pretty red flag too. So you're telling me that another country's technology is flying around here freely, doing God knows what. We don't even know what they're doing, and that's the funny part about this all.
Yep.
So we've talked about this before with Bradley, and I definitely I love the fact that we're actually having this conversation between me and you because I feel like we definitely go further into the hole with this. But it's it's alarming to know that we're letting another country do this, and we have no clue on how to handle it and to
Yeah.
even think that we have technology of our own to kind of repel this whatever it is that's going on over there, but we're not doing anything about it. And there was actually, I think, in this episode on this episode on the Shamrock podcast, he even said that there was a sheriff that they used their own drone to kind of do
Yes.
surveillance and all this stuff, that they try to get a look at this one of those things and they just took off right away. It was just this thing, like we had a he was saying himself that they claimed that their drone was pretty like up there in regards to high tech, but whatever these things are flying, it's got like it's way beyond what they've ever seen ever. So
Yeah. They're able
I don't
to
know, man.
manipulate gravity somehow.
Yeah, so that'll, I mean, dude, that's some futuristic stuff. I mean, if we thought stuff like that wasn't possible, I mean, we're here now where we're witnessing something like this taking place. So,
Right.
I mean, Brett, I mean, bro, your thoughts. Let's peel back the onion layers on this and just go in.
Yeah, no, I think that there's a lot of crazy things happening right now, and boy oh boy. So let's just talk about just for simplicity. I know the name is Matthew Livelsberger or whatever. I'm just gonna I've seen it online where they've just shortened it to Matt Berg. So I'm just gonna from here on out just label the guy who supposedly or allegedly blew himself up in the Tesla.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna call him Matt Berg from here on out. But there's a lot of questions surrounding that. But we'll go into that. But let's talk about those drones. The fact that if they really, well, yeah, I mean they're obviously more complex. They're more advanced than anything than Americans have. And so here's the thing. Here's the threat, right? If China, let's just say it's China, right? Let's just look at the scenario. So China, we knew that early in the Biden administration, China was flying over the 2 air balloons. We shot one down, we let one go. Biden was just letting it fly. We also know that China has bought a lot of farmland, mainly around U.S. bases. Okay, so China is very, very interested in getting being a step ahead of the United States. Okay, now we have these drones, and and there's everything's been so hush hush about it. I mean, everything was hush hush about those balloons until people started seeing them themselves. It was eyewitness reporting, that was the one that they were bringing these issues up. It wasn't even the government themselves talking about it. So what is that all about? Why is the government being so secretive? Why? I don't know. I can speculate. I think that there's a Trojan horse. I think that there are a lot of people within our deep state that need for us to be conquered, but they've already made connections with China, with the right people, and not just China, but the UN and whatever. And so they're just waiting to gut us from the inside. So how do they gut us from the inside? How do you go against the Second Amendment Americans that, we've got 330 guns, 330 million guns, probably more than that are ready for any onshore invasion. China's nobody, the UN, nobody is going to set foot in this country and try to take arms against all of the guns. I mean, we've got some families that have a gun for every single family member for every day of the week. right? That's just
Yeah.
how in love we are with our Second Amendment. Well, you can do that with drones. We've seen those videos where I don't know if it's the Ukrainians that are attacking the Russians, but the last video you see is the Russian trying so desperately to get away from this drone, and they just can't because these drones have bombs on them. So it reminded me of one time Biden had um, talking about, oh, if you guys, like your Second Amendment so bad or so much, there's no way you're going to take on F-16s. So he was basically telling the Second Amendment folks that you're no match to our F-16s, which was crazy. But now you put it in the context of drones, you know, now it becomes a thing where a hostile country, so say China starts to get some wins. We know that we have multiple enemies right now. We know that Iran is in the drone game. We know that North Korea would love to get their chops, wet over this. They're licking their chops over this kind of stuff. We've got a number of countries. I mean, look at ISIS. We have so many. You talk about Sean Ryan. We have all these sleeper cells that are just
Oh, bro.
waiting to activate, right? And what better time than when we're under attack by another country with advanced technologies? So that's where I'm at.
That's a good point. No, that's a good point. And just going back on, finishing off top with on the topic of drones. Yeah, it just seems that's going to be in a sense what like like the kids say nowadays, the new wave of advanced warfare, if you were to say, right? Because you can make them, you can put them together, you can make them as fast as you want, and one time use, boom, no evidence,
Yep.
explosions. I mean, the possibilities are endless with these things, and who would have thought, right? But once you start seeing what these things can do, man, it's really insane to think that they would use it for no good, for potentially killing people. That's really what it comes down to, or
Yeah.
just causing death. So it's it's insane, man. I mean, it's really boils down to where the transparency on this stuff, where we're only getting little tits and tats of pieces of this stuff. That's why the internet, to me, just for like X, getting the latest and greatest of what's really going out there with people that are actually on the streets, on the foot, like just to see what's really going on out there, to really get the perspectives of like, I'm here right now. This is what we're really witnessing. Don't listen to what CNN or whatever all these major corporations,
Yep.
I mean, news corporations are telling you. This is what's really going on, right?
Yep.
Just like us, we're just delivering the message onto you guys. We're just putting in our own format, right? And feeding it to the masses so they can just take it for how it is and just live on your lives with it. But the one thing for sure it should be kind of concerning is the fact that it's oh man, it's like you were saying. I don't trust my own government. You don't trust your own government. I don't. I know a lot of people don't.
Yep.
It's just right now. It's the time to just really be spoken about this and really talk freely about this because it's nobody's gonna do it. It's like so we're like, hey, we might as well have fun and do a podcast and talk about this and add some slight humor to it. But it's like no, it's some serious stuff, man. Like when I was listening to that whole episode, man, it's just very the way this gentleman is trying to put this together to kind of like get attention to it as much as it can. But the other crazy thing with this, right, on this, what we would say a conspiracy, or we don't even know. Do you think we should label this a conspiracy for now, or do you think it's like what a way to start the new year, or what a way to really kind of get this funneled out to the masses? Like,
Well,
how would you label this one?
There are definitely some elements of a conspiracy in this, and that's probably what we should define a little bit because there's a lot of questions, right? There's a lot of people asking if that's even Matt Berg, if Matt Berg was the one that is even the guy that fried in the Tesla. Is that
That's
his
another
body?
thing.
We don't know.
Yeah.
Why did his signal switch to his safety number switch? Why was he so desperate, and who was he running from? Why was he trying to get to Mexico? I mean, and why did he end up in Las Vegas?
Yeah. And also just to kind of specify some details when Brett said about his signal code changing.
Yeah.
that only could change obviously if you're the owner of the account.
Yes.
So how is it that it changed after the time of his death? How
Yes.
could they have changed? Unless, however, I'm just saying the alphabet somehow changed it for them, or he's still alive. So
Well,
that's the conspiracy behind this, right? He did this, planned it out, because they did mention in that episode that he had CIA clearance. So, and they were like a couple people, and the gentleman that got this manifesto claims that he's like a sharp dude. Like he's a very sharp like individual when it comes to this and how it's all laid out. So the fact that they're saying that he could potentially be alive, that's crazy. That is crazy
yeah.
to
I
see if he really pulled this off. But and also to add more to it, that he was saying that he had a pretty much a bomb strapped under his car, and he knew about it. That they're tracking him, they're hearing him,
Yep.
they have eyes on him, and they know what he knows. So that's like we're gonna keep a close eye on you, and just to make things worse, we're gonna put a little bomb under your car.
Yeah.
That is
Well,
insane,
he
dude.
he was the one that said that he had it. Not
He
that
had it. Oh, okay, okay,
not that
okay. I
they
thought they
put
put
the
on his
bomb on
car. Okay,
him.
okay. Okay,
No,
that's
no, that
insane.
he was basically prepared to destroy everything or whatever.
Oh man. That by the way, it's like, damn, all that to bring awareness to that's like, yeah, it's just crazy. Like, there's a lot of questions, right? There's even me, like, it's still still kind of stumped about it, just because obviously you only kind of see it from for first glance, right? When you see it on the news, like when I saw him, like, what the hell, a Tesla truck blew up, and that was it, right? But the
Right.
more I dove into it and kind of like listened to the whole story about it, uh, it's crazy, it's wild. Um,
Well,
do
yeah,
you would you want to do the honors, Brett, of reading the manifesto yourself on this one, just to kind of give the people a little taste of of what this gentleman was talking about in his own words, according to this is the alleged email he sent to this individual.
where do you have it?
We're gonna we're
Do you,
gonna say Sam Shoemate. I sent it to you on Signal.
okay, okay,
Yeah, it's yeah, I sent it to you on Signal.
okay,
You can pretty
okay. I'll try to. It's a small font, but I'll try to
yeah.
go through. Okay, so it doesn't say who it's to. The subject is initial contact. This was this email from his Proton Mail account. Proton is a what do you call it? Encrypted email. So it's not like Google. This is
Oh, okay.
and encryption. So encryption. So this is from his Proton account. This was sent on Tuesday, December 31st at 10:42 a.m. And it does so it's redacted as to who it's to. Um, but wasn't this is the one from Shoemaker, right? So he's just
Yeah.
redacting his own basically his his email account or his email address. Okay. So it says in case I do not make it to my decision. I think he meant, let's see, decision point or maybe a destination point. I don't know if he meant to say that or not. Or onto the Mexico border. I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification. When we have been seeing what we have been seeing with drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China in the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we and China have this capability. Our OPSEN location for this activity is in the boxes below. China has been launching them from the Atlantic from submarines for years, but this activity and recently has picked up. As of now, it's just a show of force, and they are using it similar to how they use the balloons for SIGINT and ISR, which are also part of the integrated comm systems. There are dozens of those balloons in the air at any given time. China, let's see. Oh, shoot. Sorry, this thing is so small.
Yeah, no, it's I'm pretty sure I could have given you a full link so you can read it full. I know
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking at
okay.
it too. I'm like, it's
We'll
pretty
figure
hard.
it out. uh, the let's see, the so what is because of the speed and stealth of these unmanned AC. What's AC? Something, whatever. Uh,
Aircraft.
Aircraft. There you go. They are the most dangerous threat to national security that has ever existed. They basically have an unlimited payload capacity and can park it over the White House if they want it. It's checkmate. USG needs to give the history of this, how we are employing it and weaponizing it, how China is employing them, and what the way forward is. China is poised to attack anywhere on the East Coast. Oh, man. I get it. Okay. I've been following, or let's see, I've been followed for over a week now from likely a Homeland or FBI, and they are looking to move on me and are unlikely going to let me cross into Mexico, but won't because they know I am armed and I have a massive V bide, whatever.
Yeah,
That was
that's
the
the bomb.
Yeah, that was the explosives in the Tesla. I've been trying to maintain a very visible profile and have kept my phone, and they are definitely digitally tracking me. I have knowledge of this program and also war crimes that are covered up during airstrikes in Nimruz province, Afghanistan in 2019 by the admin, DOD, DEA, and CIA. I conducted targeting for these strikes for over 125 buildings. 65 were struck because of the civ CAS that killed, so civilian casualties, that killed hundreds of civilians in a single day. US FORA, so USFORA, continued strikes after spotting civilians on initial ISR. It was supposed to take 6 minutes and scramble all aircraft in CENTCOM. The UN basically called these war crimes, but the administration made them disappear. I was part of that cover up with USFORA and Agent Redacted of the DEA. So I don't know if my abduction attempt is related to either. I work with General Miller's IO staff on this, as well as the response to Bala Murgab, AOBS commander at the time, blank, so redacted, can validate this. You need to elevate this to the media so we avoid a world war because this is a mutually assured destruction situation. For vetting, my LinkedIn is Matt Berg or Matthew Livelsberger. On active duty, 18Z out of my 1 through 10. My profile is public. I have an active TSSCI with a UAP USAP access. And that is the email. That is
Insane, dude.
what they call the
That hey,
manifesto.
hey, just we want to make this clear. It's available for everybody to see. It's on X. We're just relaying the message, okay,
Yeah.
people? I don't know anything. I'm just giving you from what we know. That's all we're doing.
Yeah.
Just
We
it
are
freaks me out a
hungry.
little bit though, because we talk about stuff like this happening when we talk about this type of stuff, and we're not joking. Like this is not me just being like paranoid, but we've had our internet go out, just crazy interferences.
Yeah.
So far this thing is going smooth. But yes, it's the email itself, man. When he read that part, I was like, wow, this really went from like a solid 3-4 to like an 8-9 now,
Yeah.
like levels of like there could be something behind this, especially when he talked about the airstrike, right? With the innocent civilian casualties.
Yep.
It's
So,
insane, bro. I
so
mean, a
2019.
lot of blood on people's hands, you know.
Right. So now though, now I'm thinking, 2019, who was the president in 2019?
Barry,
Huh?
is it Barry? Is
No.
it Barry?
No.
I'm
Who
horrible
won
with
in
years.
2016?
Biden.
Donald Trump.
Wait, wait. Oh, did it? Oh, yeah,
Trump
that's right. I mean, it's
was
been so long. I swear, I feel like. Okay, 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 okay. Yeah,
so
you're right, right.
so he's saying that in that manifesto that the administration covered it up, meaning the Trump administration covered it up.
Interesting.
So that the
Hmm.
Trump was covering up basically war crimes, which is crazy because I thought we were done. Trump was not fighting any wars. I thought at that time, but they're saying that basically his
Well, could this been maybe some shots being called from what we want to say the DP DPS? No, wait. Yeah, DPS.
was that deep state.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I don't say that again.
So no, you're right. Like, well, but what if the shots were being called by somebody else, not the president? Like, what if this was something of like, I mean, we've talked about how there's other organizations like
Oh yeah,
aside from like some under the table like no like they have clearance to
well,
everything and they could be doing this stuff.
so that's what basically this. It's so messy right now that some of these questions should be answered. And so now, now that Trump's going to be back in the White House, um, he's maybe he really owes us some sort of explanation as to what is Matt Berg talking about here? Is this true? Is this something that did you cover up war crimes? Because
Because
even though
the
it
guy
was,
himself, he was a big Trump supporter too, right?
well, that's the thing, right? That's what they
Hmm.
say. But then I've also seen other reports on X that his wife was completely against Trump.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, so there's that thing.
Interesting.
But then what they're talking about is, it seemed like his main thing. That was like an issue, a big issue that he was dealing with. But it seemed like it was these UAPs or these drones that China has that they're saying, you're going to hit our White House. They have the capability to hit our White House, which obviously we have the same type of capabilities. We could go to Beijing and we could rip up shop just the same. So it's
Yeah.
mutually assured destruction is what they're saying, right?
Yeah.
So but they're talking
Oh
about,
man.
I'm so glad we're on the West Coast, bro, because this East Coast, man, it's gonna be popping. It's gonna be popping. We're talking. There's nuclear threats. There's just all.
Oh,
The
bro.
populations are dense over there. So if people do, I mean, they're talking about all these sleeper cells, all these ISIS sleeper cells, dude. Where are they gonna go? It's on the East Coast. That's where the people are, man. We're
Oh
just over here
man.
chilling.
Oh, dude, it's Pac and Biggie all over again, times like 10 now, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, but on the real, I'm gonna be looking for some home sales. Some cheap property with, if they
But it's all
if enough
just
people,
leveled out.
yeah, I'll buy that block.
I'll buy that avenue, and I'll take that one over there.
I am what you would call an entrepreneur.
Oh man,
Never let
dude.
a
God,
crisis go to waste.
yeah, it's I'm still kind of in awe that if we were to see like my question is if they knew the foreign entity, like if they knew that it was China stuff, why wouldn't we act like okay, that's their first shot, that's like the first act of war, why not do something about it? That's my question. Like why aren't we really like heavily investigating this and being like what the hell is going on? Because
Well,
nothing's being said, nothing's really being like talked about that
it
I
could,
know of that's really like they're really digging deep into this to know or give us people the answer because we deserve the right to know,
I,
especially for the people that are there that are like seeing these things. It's like, how do you know it's not a threat to these people that are down there,
it could be like this, right? I'll use these scissors as an example, right? So, so this is what China has, right? And then
Yeah.
so everything on this side of the scissors, what we see, right? We don't know how far that blade goes, right? So
Yeah.
everything you're seeing here is just the UAPs and the air balloons
Yeah.
or whatever. But what else do they have? You know what I mean?
Oh, it's only gonna get worse.
That's what I'm
I
saying.
mean,
So it's
I would
like,
hope not, but that according to your example, good example by the way. Uh it's yeah, it's it doesn't look good. It does not look good. Like if that is really the case, if this is just them kind of like giving us a teaser of what's to come, I don't know, man. All I say, people, if you're a Second Amendment follower and a Second Amendment, definitely, I guess I would say Second Amendment supporter, uh, load up. That's all I could say. No
Yeah,
more, no
and
less.
the
But
I'll tell you
it's yeah,
what,
it's crazy.
everybody's all worried about the ARs, whatever, getting those banned or whatever. But the videos that I've seen on X that are taking down these drones. So if we find ourselves in a situation where China's releasing drones in our neighborhoods and they're trying to get us, dude, our shotgun, the 12 gauge shotguns, just get the don't get the slugs, get the shots. But yeah, get yourselves a shotgun and start skeet shooting, skeet, and you could take them out. That's what they're doing in either Russia or Ukraine. I don't know. I don't know
Yeah,
if they're using them on each other, but one side figured out that all you need is a 12 gauge shotgun, and you could take them right out of the sky. So that's all we got to do, dude.
good.
Don't
Oh
let this
man,
stuff overly scare you.
yeah,
Run up. As long as we got our shotguns, who cares that they're trying to take our ARs or whatever? But as long as we got our shotgun, boom, you are set.
there you go. So people invest in a shotgun just in case. I'm just saying, just in case, just hold it, put it somewhere safe, of course, away from the kids, and you'll never know when you need it. That's what I'll
Well,
say. That's my next purchase, by the way. So I think I'm looking at getting one too.
yeah,
So
and I'm just thinking, we've had so many strikes on this stupid channel. I
yeah,
just want to reiterate here the message is I'm talking about um, with the shotguns, the usage. It's just talking about hostile drones from the enemy state
yeah,
and protecting our country. So that's what I'm
from
talking
bad
about.
people.
I'm not talking
Exactly.
about you know aiming it at people or doing anything like that. I would
Oh,
say that on the channel. See me in person. We'll have that conversation.
different story. Yeah, in person, different
But
story.
on the channel,
Oh man,
we don't get striked. Uh,
yeah.
I'm saying just keep it on the drones. Keep that.
Good way to clear it.
Yeah,
Just for sport. Just for sport. Just like you would do a bow and arrow. Just for sport. You know what I'm
100%.
saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. So good way to clarify that. But yes, more of the story. Be prepared. I mean, we're just passing the message, of course. I just think this topic's a very it just comes with the result of never trust the mainstream media. There's always two sides to each story. The truth will always come out, and definitely the podcast game right now in regards to just current events that's going on is the best way to find out the real deal Holyfield of news. I feel like that's what it's come down to. So I think it's awesome that everybody that goes down this path of just bringing it up, talking about it, having a good conversation with your buddies like I am with my boy here. It's a good way to get this just message out and just let people be informed. I think that's what we can
Yep.
do, right? As people, inform one another, kind of let people know what's going on over here, what the truth is, or try to find the closest thing to the truth in regards to the story. I think we can definitely help each other out with that, amongst ourselves, amongst each other, right? So yeah,
Definitely.
it's very crazy, brother. But you said something else about sleeper cells. Now this goes hand in hand with the situation that happened in New Orleans. Very sad, very tragic. I believe the number was 15 or 14 people were pretty much killed, right?
Officer Lounge.
Um, but this is what's crazy too. Again, want to reference back to the Sean Ryan podcast. Sarah Adams, that's what her name is.
Yep.
She's the gal who's kick ass, by the way.
Amazing.
She's doing the Lord's work in regards to finding out
Absolutely.
who these people are,
Yep.
who's trying to come against us, as a country,
Yep.
who's trying to cause this type of stuff happening in our country here in the United States. But she's figuring out all the players in the game of who's trying to set up these type of plans for them to occur. But what's crazy, this is the most insane thing about this, right? If I were to know something was going on, or if I knew there was construction on this bridge, and I'm giving Brett, hey Brett, don't go down that bridge, or else you're gonna run off of it and go into the ocean. He would know, right? Like his second, he goes, okay, cool, I'll find an alternate way or whatever. At least I know and I'm aware.
Yep.
Sarah Adams did her due diligence to let people know and let the government know. I'm sure she let that info, go out so people are aware, or we're aware as a country that is it the Taliban was planning events like this happening, and lo and behold, what happened on that day? It was January 1st, correct? When it happened,
No,
it was January 1st.
January 1st. The like
Uh,
early morning.
and, and an individual who was also he was an ex. What was he? He was in the army, right?
He was, yeah, out of Fort Bragg. They were both out of Fort Bragg, believe it or not. The guy in
Okay.
Vegas and the guy in New
So
Orleans.
pretty much the gentleman rented out a truck and he went down a very busy avenue or busy street in New Orleans, and he just punched it and just went down a whole street of people. So it's very crazy to think that that could happen at the most unexpected time or occurrence anywhere in major cities, events. I mean, she mentioned something. One of the craziest things she mentioned actually was telling Sean that the Taliban came up with a newly updated type of suicide bomb vest that is undetectable
Yep.
by metal detectors.
Yep.
That's pretty much like an update from what you would think, a vest strapped with bombs, but it's much more sophisticated, I guess, in a sense
Yep.
that's just more low key.
Yep.
And you think about it, you have all these sporting events everywhere here, you name it, concerts, rodeo, whatever, right? Where there's a bunch of people around.
Yep.
It's only a matter of time, bro. I mean, I hate to be that guy to say that, right? But it's like, it's just my paranoia is flying through the roof.
Well,
But it's like that type of stuff can happen. That's pretty much what she's saying. That warning the people that that's the stuff to look out for. It's
she
going to take up to us, right? Like to really be kind of aware of our surroundings to see, like, okay, who looks like a suspect. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, in this world they tell you not to stereotype, like, oh, don't stereotype. Nah, man. I am stereotyping the shit out of my day and everyday life. I do. I don't, I do not care.
Uh,
That's how I've survived. I've had myself, I've been in some crazy, sketchy situations, and it's just for me having crazy stereotype skills. I put that to work for me. That is what keeps me alive. And so you guys can pretend all you want that these stereotypes aren't real. No, they're real. They're real. So
it's almost like
I'm gonna
using it
use
at
that
the
same
appropriate time,
stereotype.
right? Yeah, it's almost like using it at the very appropriate time, right? Like if something seems off, like if your first instinct just kind of comes into where something just really feels off, you definitely need to go with that. But
Right.
obviously, if it's like a scenario where it just doesn't align right, I mean, it's like it's like a human instinct, like you would know that doesn't seem like fitting for the certain scenario or situation or whatever, right?
Right.
But I mean, you're right. You're right. It just seems to me it's like nowadays you just don't know. Like I'm just speaking in the reality of things where you go out. It's I'm just gonna give you a very, very just simple scenario, dude. I was at the store picking up some groceries. My wife told me like, "Hey, can you go run by get this stuff?" I see a gentleman with what they call a shiesty. Shiesty is one of those like over the face like ski mask. You can only see your eyes covered everything
Oh
with a
yeah.
hoodie. You don't think my senses are gonna go up with that? And by all means, I carry concealed carry permit the legit way.
Yeah. Bop, bop.
Let's just say I have my hand right here. And that's just me. My instincts just kind of like, hey, just so you know, individuals over there looks kind of off to me. Just to keep an eye over there. You never know. That's it. Go and get my stuff, leave, boom, out. Okay, nothing to worry. But that's what I'm saying though. It's like you just know that something doesn't feel right or something just it's kind of bothering me a little bit, right?
Yep.
So that's what I'm talking about. Those type of things that kind of happen on a day-to-day basis. It's just the name of the game. It's just reality. It's just the real
Right.
world we live in. So especially now with crime going like just crime getting worse, bro. It's very obvious to the people, bro. Like they can't. Nobody can tell me or convince me that things or it's much safer out there. No, I'm not going to believe it one bit. But yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
I think that a lot of this is by design. I think that the government has deliberately made this country unsafe by letting millions of unvetted illegal immigrants in our country. Um, that include people that are terrorists that are adding to these sleeper cells that they have. They've let them in legally. In fact, the guy in New Orleans was an American citizen, a U.S. citizen.
Oh.
So, America, they know this is happening, but I think here's my tinfoil hat conspiracy is I think that what they're doing is they're trying to usher in a great reset type of thing, right? Where they're going to say, hey, if you're not going to let us control the world, we're not going to you're not going to let us enslave all of you and be stripped of your freedoms, then we're just going to deliberately allow chaos to happen. We're just going to let it get really messy. And, basically you're not gonna that's the world you want. Freedom. We're not there to protect you.
Okay, so my boy cut off. Wherever we come back on this when we do the editing, I spoke too soon. We were talking about how there's no introductions when we talk about stuff that's what we consider conspiracy, and certain groups involved. This type of interruptions happen. It happened again.
Happen
I
again.
mean, we don't make this up. We don't make this up. I
We
swear,
were
bro.
doing really good too. We were doing really good, but I knew like once we started like getting into some stuff that is a little bit more like truthful, like
yeah.
stuff that doesn't involve as much speculation just because we've had years to see it in works.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time.
That's all. But okay, let's recap with what you left off though. I think the last thing you were talking about sleeper cells forming up and how that gentleman he was actually a US citizen.
Yep.
I think that's what we were talking about. I don't
Yep.
know if you
So
remember
basically what I was saying is that the government knows that they know there's all this crime, right? And so
Okay.
you have your George Soros funded DAs that they're adding to the mix. They're saying, okay, we'll soften sentences on serious crimes. So if someone R's somebody or essays somebody, then we'll let them go with no bail, no problems. And if somebody, an illegal immigrant comes in and does a serious crime, no big deal. We'll deport them real quick, but we're just going to let them come right back in because we're not enforcing any type of border. So I think what's going on is that the world government, we're talking about like the Klaus Schwab World Economic Forum, the UN, they're working in cahoots with them, but in America and Canada, that what is happening, they're allowing the crime to get so bad that they're basically saying, we are not going to protect you. If you're not going to let us strip you of your freedoms and your, all that, you're not going to give up your Second Amendment rights, you're not going to give up your First Amendment rights, then we are not going to do our job to protect you. We're going to protect you on a very, very, very limited basis. But really, if you want real protection, then you got to give up all that freedom. So in that event, we're going to let these sleeper cells go. We're going to let these illegal immigrants continue to infiltrate the country. We are going to let crime go sky high. So your wives and your daughters are at risk. We're going to let all that stuff. We could easily, enforce the law. We could easily enforce the borders. We could easily stop these sleeper cells from happening, but we're not going to because you are not allowing us full freedom into your life. So they want the Patriot Act completely. They want to do away with the U.S. Constitution. They want to do away with the Constitution, and that is what's stopping them. So if we want that Constitution, they're just not going to protect us anymore. They're just going to say, you guys can live in all this violence, and we're just going to turn a blind eye. We're going to see it. We know it exists. We know it's happening. We know what's going to happen. We know who it is, but we're just not going to protect you because you're not willing to give up your freedoms.
Like I said, people, it's going to take us to really make some changes for ourselves and look out for one another. And that's what it comes down to. And I think we always want to say, right? I think it kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm trying to say when it was Ronald Reagan. Was it Ronald Reagan or when he said talking about it would have to take a out of this world threat, an out of world threat to make us unite and
that's your
become
boy
as
Reagan.
one. I think if it were to boil down to that, where it gets to that catastrophic level, it would really unite people to really like, look, we might not agree on a bunch of things, but when it comes down to like, if it's hurting me, my family, your kids, your wife, your, whatever, your family, I think it would have to come to down to that point where we have to have each other's backs. Because at this point, it can only get worse before it gets any better. Is that how it goes?
Get better before get worse before it gets better. Yeah, that
Yeah.
works. What
Yeah. So
I'm
it's
saying though is they're using confusion. They're
yeah.
confusing us with the media. That's why, the media will have you like, I mean, how many times did the mass media say there wasn't an issue with illegal a Venezuelan gang taking over apartments in Aurora or whatever, California, Colorado?
Yeah.
They were
Colorado. Yep.
gaslighting the whole way away. And so, we're being told time and time again, there's not a crisis with illegal immigration until there becomes this crisis that is no longer can be denied. But by the time it can no longer be denied, we have 10 million illegal immigrants in our country, so it took 10 million illegal immigrants for them to finally just say, okay, yeah, you're right. Well, we can't get rid of them. And they're doing the same thing with these sleeper cells. They're doing the same thing with all these other crimes. Is they're just they're deliberately turning a blind eye and letting it happen. And then when it gets too late, and that's where Americans, we have to step up. We have to start voting these people out a lot sooner. But also, voting isn't going to fix everything. We need sheriffs. We need to there's people that can take action today. We don't have to wait for the next election to fix this stuff. You are the sheriff. You do the job. You start getting these people out. You start, and then, the same thing with DAs. You soft on crime DAs can no longer do this soft, we are seeing people getting murdered, getting killed, getting essayed, getting R'd over and over again, and there's literally no punishment. No punishment.
That's insane, dude. Yeah.
They'll,
Especially when it comes down to certain things, right? When you see stuff like come about, the punishment is like a slap on the wrist, like close to that. It's like wait, what? It's like
dude,
the punishment for some of the stuff you hear about is insane. Like it's like, damn, a criminal's better off than somebody that's like over here really trying to make it. It's like less punishment for the criminal. But hey, if you don't pay your taxes though, that's a 10 to 20 or 30, whatever your sins, whatever, But I'm just saying though, right? Like something like that of that level. But it's insane. It's insane. Like who makes these rules? Who makes these rules?
But okay, so check this out. So somebody, this could easily happen, right? So say you have someone who is here illegally from Venezuela, right? That was where those gangs were from. Okay, so say he has a podcast in Venezuela, right? And then he goes and he pushes somebody into the railroad, into the subway station, right? And they get hit by a subway, right? They're murdered, right? So then in America, the way that we used to do is that would be a murder charge, right? You are getting charged for murder. These DAs, these George Soros funded DAs, are saying no, we'll just deport him. Right. So now this guy is on his podcast saying, hey, I just got deported from the United States. I just killed somebody.
Murder.
Yeah. And they just deported me. That was my punishment, yo. And by the way, I'll be back on Monday. I'm just here to do this episode, just to let you know how a stupido they are up in the Estados Unidos.
There you go. Perfect. You nailed it. Nice. Good job. That's insane. That's it. That to me does not make any sense. But it's like, man, I don't know. Like I really hope that what do they call themselves? Ramaswamy and Musk. What do they call themselves? I really do. I hope they trim the fat. I really hope they just just slice every useless thing that our hard earned or money, tax paying dollars go into that play zero into that anything that just like that's not beneficial to me or you or anybody who has ever contributed to taxes in this country. I really hope, bro.
Yep. I'm with you. I hope so too. I hope that it opens up a lot of eyes. I hope that we can really start attacking the deficit of this country. I mean, we're at what, $36 trillion. I mean, that's just we're not even we're only making interest payments now. It's so bad. Like, this is what we joke about with rich people doing this to poor people, like with credit cards. Like, oh yeah, we're going to get them in so much credit card debt that they're going to be able to do is interest payments. They're going to be stuck for life, right? That is essentially what the Federal Reserve, which is a private company, has been able to successfully trick America into. The American government, and American government has done it. But with this, I mean, Ron Paul was so right when he talked, in his book, when he talks about end the Fed. You have to. We are not there yet as a country. People have not woken up to the fact that this private company created a means to keep us in debt forever. And we are now in this point where it's about to blow up. It is about to explode on us. Ron Paul tried to save us in 2008, and we didn't listen. We're still not listening. It's now 2025, I should say. And you can't, the can has been kicked as far as it can go.
That's a good one. The can has been kicked as far as it could. That's a bar right there. But yeah, man, no, I really hope these next 4 years, man, people kind of see it for what it is, and we actually just wake up to the fact that, like, we can do better. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's always room for improvement, people. Let's just see how these 4 years go. I'm sure in so many ways, like, it's gonna be. Hopefully, it's for the good, right? There's a lot more things that are done in these 4 years, and so people can just really open up their views on certain stuff and just change their opinions. I don't know, man. You got to be open to a bunch of stuff to just make sure that don't be closed-minded. Let's see what's going on. Let's definitely make some adjustments. I mean, dude, we can always improve as a country. That's all. That's pretty much like kind of how I see it, going on into 2025. And yeah, bro, yeah, I mean, we're definitely in a hole, especially with the debt thing. Yeah, we're pretty deep in that. But yeah, man, it's a lot of crazy stuff happening, bro. I mean, dude, a lot of stuff that we can actually pinpoint out. I know we're close. What do you say? We're getting close on time. What time do we start?
It's been an hour, 60 minutes.
Been an hour. Okay. One thing I want to leave off with, actually, before we round up this episode, is also, oh, excuse me, there was a story that I was listening to just because we're Pac fans, There was a gentleman on this podcast. Just kind of switch up topics too. There was a gentleman on this podcast talking about how Michael Jackson pressed Tupac about Quincy Jones' daughter at the time that he was dating, because I guess, like, he was being kind of like somewhat aggressive at this event that they were both at. I guess Pac was being kind of like a little bit aggressive with, like, I forgot the girl's name, but the gal that he was dating,
Kadada Jones,
yeah,
right?
And I guess they were kind of getting in a little fight, whatever. And I guess Michael Jackson saw from afar and he pressed on Tupac.
Hell yeah.
And I was like, what the fuck? Really? Like, who would have thought? Like,
Yeah.
especially Michael Jackson, that you're thinking pressing, like, at the time. I don't know if this was during, like, if he was on Death Row. Was this the time of Death Row Records when he was dating her?
Yes.
Okay, so this was like at the height of 96, 90. Okay, so this was at the time where he was like at his primo level. So it's just crazy to think MJ just stepped up to him and
Well,
said,
MJ
hey,
had
man,
more bodyguards than Pac could ever have in his life. Like, MJ had more bodyguards than Suge, Pac, Snoop, Biggie, Puffy combined. But the cool thing about MJ, he went down. I forgot what country it was, but it's the video. They don't care about us or whatever.
Yes, yeah.
Dude, they were I think it was Brazil. Was it Brazil?
I think so. Yeah, I think you're right.
They made a deal with the drug lords down there. Said the drug lords told him, "You will be safe down here." So the drug lords made a deal with Michael Jackson and his team and said, "Yep, you'll be safe down here." It was an honor for them to have Michael Jackson in their country to make that video. So, dude, I'm telling you, people can clown Michael Jackson all they want. But the guy was legit. The guy was, you know, Pac
There,
wasn't messing with him. I can tell you that.
there was another one I heard that and I don't know if this photo is real. Somebody, if you're watching this episode, definitely drop a comment on YouTube on the YouTube comments. Uh, but there was a video going out. There was not video, but there was a photo out there. I don't know if it was Photoshopped, and I wouldn't be surprised if it was. But it was like him with a bunch of Crips, and he's throwing up the C, like the
Michael
C,
Jackson.
right? And this is a photo that I saw a long
Okay.
time ago.
Okay.
But someone kind of made they made a video of that photo and talking about like the story behind it because I guess it's a true it's like a real thing.
Mm.
Um, but pretty much it was during a video shoot, and I think it's that one Who's Bad or Bad, the
Yeah,
song
man.
Bad. So you know how like there's a bunch of like a lot of street dudes like walking
Yeah.
around in that video, whatever. But there's certain individuals wearing a blue. According to this dude that was kind of like just laying down some like fun facts, I guess, that he actually used some real Crips to go on that video shoot, and that's why he was cool with them. I was like, what?
Dang, dude. Well,
I was like, dude, I just never would imagine, like, dude, he just was just no big deal, just Michael Jackson reaction with the Crips over here. It's like, dude, that is insane.
another one was MC Hammer. I've been hearing stories about him on how, he came out of Oakland and he had Oakland on lock. And so anybody, like there were a lot of people like MC Search,
Yeah,
the rappers that tried. Oh, Redman was another one where they tried to
yeah,
make fun of MC Hammer or they
yeah.
tried to make fun of his mom. That he went at him and he put the fear of death into MC Search. He thought he was going to get killed in L.A. He was down in L.A. and he thought he was going to get killed by MC Hammer's people. The MC Hammer had
Yeah.
people for days. There was nobody messing with MC Hammer. Ice Cube had to
Really?
apologize. Ice Cube, MC Search, Redman, like a lot of big name dudes. They could not touch Hammer. They were not messing with Hammer.
Hammer,
Yep.
dude, hey, man. Can't touch this. No, yeah. I
No, they
mean,
couldn't touch
hey,
it.
man, he was at the time. He was the dog, man. He was the big dog,
Yep.
in that time. So doesn't surprise me, especially in Cali. Like if you're from Cali, you got, you're rolling with certain crews. I mean, does not surprise me, bro.
Well,
But yeah, just
I
hearing stuff
remember.
like that, right? It's always kind of interesting to hear those type of stories. Like, did you know, right? And it's that one caught my attention about like Michael Jackson with those cribs. I was like, damn, that's
Yeah,
crazy. I
dude.
never would have thought about that one. But yeah, brother. Aside from that, man, you got anything on your end that you want to bring
No.
onto the table? I mean, I think that one's like I said, man, that one this one might get some traction. We'll see. But again,
Yeah.
we apologize for the technical difficulties we had. Of course, I swear this always happens again. Like we talk about some stuff that's more on the real ish side of things.
Yep.
This always happens. So we definitely want to apologize for that. We have no control over it. I swear, on my end, everything looks like I was connected fully. I think my boy was connected fully. I don't
Yep.
know what happened, but there was just a slight interference. So we'll try to edit this really good to where it'll go smoothly and the final product drops.
Yeah.
So yeah, I want to sign out. Hopefully everybody have fantastic and amazing New Year's. And yeah,
Yes.
drop in the comment what your New Year's resolutions are. I mean, let us know like what is something that you want to do better this year, you want to improve, and you want to achieve. I guess you could say, right? Hopefully we have a strong start to your New Year's.
Mm.
And yeah, we'll leave off with that. And of course, also like below it states, follow us on Beyond Expedition Podcast on Instagram. We're also available on all major stream platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, just everywhere, wherever. Beyond Expedition Podcast on Google,
Yes.
boom, it'll take you to where we're available. And yeah, just go enjoy all our past previous content. But till then, we're gonna sign out. Take care. We'll catch you in the next one. Be ready. We'll be on the next one as well. And yeah, till then, peace.
Peace.